Good afternoon. My name is Youngclarke, and today I'll be persuading you that it's not just one person's fault, or more specifically Joe Biden's fault, that gas prices are so high, but it's due to a collection of geopolitical events that are affecting oil prices all around the globe. So, I overheard someone say the other day at the dog park that with gas prices like this, it would be cheaper for me to take an ambulance to the hospital than for me to drive myself, and I don't even have health insurance. So while this is obviously an exaggeration and a joke, it goes to show how high gas prices are now and for most people to fill up their tanks on a monthly basis. So my wife and I, we have a 2017 Toyota Tacoma that we both share, and we both drive to and from school and work. And it's costing us about $400 a month right now to fill up the tank, even at Costco, which is the cheapest gas around. So I was curious as why gas prices are so high. So I wanted to look it up and understand the factors contributing to this and see if there's any solutions that we can do to improve our monthly income. So many people have no idea why gas prices are so high, and that's evident with the Joe Biden "I did that" stickers that you see on gas pumps around in some places. So I wanted to make this so people can understand why gas prices are so high and not just be gullible and blame one person. So because of misinformation, lies, and political incentive, people believe that it's Joe Biden's fault for these high gas prices, when in reality, it's obviously due to a bunch of factors out of any one person's control. So, a lot of people blame Joe Biden because if they're Republicans, right, it's going to be very hard for them to go against their political biasness and look up the different factors. And that's evident with Fox News. Every time you go on Fox News, any bad thing that happens, they just automatically blame Joe Biden, regardless of if he has control of it or not. So, according to Pew Research, 79% of voters said that the economy was their number one concern, and that includes high gas prices and inflation. So it's very easy for Republicans to come in and say, Joe Biden is the cause of all this. And if you're gullible enough, right, you don't look at it without political biasness, look at all the contributing factors, you're just going to believe this. And this can cause a real threat to democracy because if everyone believes it, regardless of if it's true or not, if enough people believe it, they're going to do something. Just like we saw with the January 6th insurrection, right? Even though there was all the lies passed about it being a stolen election, even though regardless there was no proof, Fox News regurgitated enough news or enough times, and look at what happened with the Capitol. So it becomes a real threat to democracy. People just blindly believing things. So who is responsible for this? Well, people responsible for believing that it's Joe Biden's fault because of Fox News. According to Statistica.com, over 2.12 million household viewers view primetime Fox News. So that's a lot of people, a lot of American households. So as for who is responsible for high gas prices, right? When Russia invaded Ukraine, right, a lot of Russia, a lot of their economy is on oil and natural gas. Ronald Reagan referred to them as a gas station masquerading as a country, just because they have so much gas and natural gas and oil, but not really a good functioning economy. The New York Times, before the invasion of Ukraine, Russia supplied 1 in 10 barrels of oil, so a huge market share of the oil. Right? So another reason why gas prices are so high was because of the sanctions against Ukraine. So in order to stop their military spending, or in order to dry up their money for fueling the war in Ukraine, we put embargoes against their oil and natural gas. This way, hopefully, they won't be able to buy as many weapons. So, but because of that, obviously that means less oil in the market for everyone. So another reason is OPEC, which is those countries that you see on the screen, and they basically form a price cartel or a huge market share of oil. So they can control the flow of oil. So in order to influence US elections, what they'll do is they'll cut oil supply, causing high prices to go up, causing other news outlets, say Fox News, to be like, oh, look, it's Joe Biden's fault, gas prices are high. And if people don't do their research, they're just going to blindly believe it. So according to this website, AlJazeera.com, the OPEC has already cut oil production 4 times this year, and they keep cutting their futures predictions too, which we can see if we'll probably see before 2024, before the presidential elections too. So what can Joe Biden do? What is he actually responsible for? Well, he doesn't control the price of oil directly. He can influence it slightly by controlling the amount of oil that flows around the U.S. So the U.S. has what's called the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and it's a little over 714 million barrels. That's located in Texas and in Louisiana, and there are these huge underground wells that are filled with oil that in 1970, after the oil crisis, we realized that we needed to have some oil in reserve just in case. So we couldn't just let another country, we couldn't be dependent on them for oil. But as you can see already, since the beginning of 2022, our reserves have dropped from around 600 million to 405. And with that, this does not account for the Biden administration releasing 15 million barrels of oil on August 18th. So as you can see, we're projecting towards a pretty big loss. And as that keeps going down, that'll cause gas prices to go up higher as the supply dwindles, but demand stays the same. So what are some solutions to this? Well, so obviously reducing our dependency on oil is a huge one, right? So in order to do this, households obviously get solar panels, electric vehicles is huge, right? But a lot of these can't be attainable for most people. But the electric vehicle, what me and my wife are looking into is we're looking into trading the truck, which is worth I think about say $35,000, and trading it in for say a $50,000 electric vehicle. So, but with that difference, there's also a $7,000 500 federal tax credit, so that could be claimed next year, and a $2,000 California tax credit. So that's about $10,000 that say next year we could put towards a loan on a car. So already you're going to see more people switching to electric vehicles because California voted on their last election that no gas car is going to be used in California by 2035. So you're going to see more and more people start switching to electric vehicles now. So it's better sooner than later, because if demand starts increasing but supply stays the same, it's going to cause those prices to go up a lot. So other easy factors that people can do is obviously ride bicycles more. That's great exercise. Take more public transportation. A lot of cities are switching and closing off streets except for public transportation and cars. You can see downtown San Diego, Friday and Saturday nights, they start cutting off certain streets to allow more people to walk. It's safer, less cars, less pollution, so a better strategy. Another solution people do is just cook at home. This way you're not driving out to cook, right? You can just learn how to cook at home, and that puts more money in your pocket anyways. The number one thing personal finance people suggest is start cooking at home, stop eating out. So that's going to be perfect. So in conclusion, so whose fault is it? Well, it's no one person's fault in general. You could probably blame Putin the most because of his invasion of Ukraine, but then you could blame OPEC as well for trying to influence our midterm elections by cutting production, right? But to just blame Joe Biden when it's not his fault, he has no control over it, I mean, that's ridiculous. So those are the reasons why gas prices are high due to sanctions on Russia. Obviously, OPEC cutting production influence our elections, right, which are pretty serious things, but we have no control over. As long as we are so dependent on oil, we don't have a choice. We just have to take these consequences with it. So why is it important? It's obviously super important for countries to have this much effect on us whenever they want, right? It's very important. So, I mean, as you can see, like, our dependency on oil is not just a climate change issue, but it's a personal issue. It comes down to our family budgets. So we need to end our oil dependency as soon as possible. Now, so these are my references right here for anyone who wants to do any further research themselves. So I'm Isaac Youngclarke. Thank you very much. Hopefully I persuaded you.